Good evening, guys, and welcome to another edition of the Thursday Night Live on SAFC Fan TV with your host, Jacob Kirkbride. Joining me on the show tonight, our fantastic editor, Mr. Conrad Lee. Hashtag, well, here we go, the mad mistake, Michael Bowers, and our two guests tonight, Gilesy, and also my best mate from uni, Johnny Fawns. How are we doing, guys, tonight?
Evening, lads. Hello.
Right.
Good to be on.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Also, guys, don't forget that the live chat is open. If you want to put forward any questions for us guys tonight, and we'll try our very best to answer them. And also, if you could please like and subscribe, as we're trying our very best to get to 5,000 subscribers to make it a very happy Christmas for all of us associated with SAFC Fan TV. And don't forget, we have a competition going on our Twitter page at the moment for a chance to win the home or away shirt this season. It's our pinned tweet at the moment on SAFC Fan TV. Twitter page, so go and check that out as well. So guys, Tuesday night, Lee Johnson got his first win as Sunderland manager, a 2-1 win at Oldham Athletic in the Papa John's Pizza Trophy. Goals from Chris Maguire and Josh Scowen secured a 2-1 win. The draw was made today for the next round. It's a home tie against Port Vale, but a massive confidence boost going into a tough away game in League One on Saturday against second place side Lincoln City. We're going to come to you, Gilesy, I think, one of our guests tonight. How would you describe the performance we put in on Tuesday night against Oldham? It was so vital that we had to bounce back with a good display, considering the disappointing display we put on against Wigan on Saturday, wasn't it?
Definitely, mate. Well, it wasn't the best performances considering it was the League Two opposition, but they got the job done. I was mainly impressed with Jack Diamond, his movement, his creativity, his pace. He looked a cut above the majority of players on the pitch. So, looking at it, he's got to start him against Lincoln for me. He has to. The rest, I'm a bit worried about Bailey right at the back because he's having a nightmare couple of games. Hopefully, McGeady is up to scratch now with his fitness and we can get on and hopefully nick a 1-0 win at Lincoln. Fingers crossed.
Johnny, we'll come to you next. Considering that Saturday's game will be very tough, just how vital was it that we just got that victory on Tuesday night and he got his first win as Sunderland manager? In case people don't know who Johnny is, he's also a massive Sunderland fan, home and away. First got to know him at university, one of my best mates, or my best mate from university, I should say. We shout a lot on the terraces when we go to the Soul, don't we? So this is Mr. Johnny Fawns making his SAFC Fan TV debut tonight. So Johnny, how would you review Tuesday night's win at Oldham Athletic?
Well, thank you very much for the big up there, firstly. I think it was obviously a big win, obviously for Johnson to get his first result, but not only that, because we haven't won since, Ipswich at home. So it's been too long. It has been too long. I think it was frustrating that we went behind again and that we haven't kept a clean sheet against League Two opposition. It was obviously a case of once they took the lead of maybe here we go again. Like Giles, he pointed out there about Bailey Wright, maybe a slight dip in form. So hopefully, obviously Johnson's worked with him before, so he can get him back to his best where he was in like the first 7 or 8 games. Again as well, Jack Diamond making a really good contribution and a real push to get him into the first team. I think we need obviously that right hand side, a position that we haven't really got covered. So I think it would be good to see him get into the side, and good for Maguire as well to get a goal, because I know again another one who's maybe suffered a little bit of a dip in form, hasn't been doing as much, so good to get a goal. I think still just trying to work out what his best side is and what system he's going to go with. So it'll be interesting to see how he approaches the game at the weekend. If he's going to Is he going to stick with the 4 at the back? Is he going to go for like 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1? It will be interesting, but definitely positive to get get his first win there, I think.
Conrad, before we come to you, quick glance at the live chat for the first time this evening. David Wood, good to be back, guys. Andrew Robbins, hi lads. Here he is, the conqueror of the street, Mr. Conrad Lee. David also put hit the like, please. And Fane SAFC, nice Roma shirt, Conrad. And Lauren Kenny, evening. All you guys. Also welcome Jonathan and Gilesy. Johnny. Most
cheers,
of
guys.
like to call so Conrad, 2-1 win on Tuesday night. Like Johnny mentioned, a terrific display also from Jack Diamond on the right hand side. Does he warrant a start with that performance that he put in on Tuesday night against Lincoln on Saturday?
I mean, yeah, he was our best player, wasn't he? Like, I mean, you can't really leave him out if you're playing the same system, but I'm just wary of putting him in against a slightly better team straight away and him being sort of not found out, but you know what I mean, just not having a better game and it knocking his confidence. I still think when you've got the younger lads, you want to sort of ease them into it a bit on there. So by all means, I'd give him, I'd maybe start him, but I'd only give him like 60 and just go, you played well the other night. Let's keep it. Do you know what I mean? Just keep it calm at the moment. And there, we don't want to suddenly, like, because we've done this before where we have one tactic, we put one player on, and when he gets found out or when he inevitably gets injured, we've lost it. So a bit like when we had Parky, we didn't have a plan B. It's good for a plan A. We now need to have another thing to do as well as Jack Diamond.
And next, we're going to go to the man mistake. Let's go to you. Jack Diamond on Tuesday night, a brilliant display down that right-hand side. You can definitely inject a lot of pace into the side. It was nice to see him get some minutes, and obviously Aidan McGeady did start on the bench, but I guess that was a decision made by Lee Johnson to save him for Saturday. But it'll be debatable how Jack Diamond fits into this team going forward under Lee Johnson.
Okay, Lincoln's the second best team in League One at this moment in time. We've got to play our best side, simple as. With Gooch out, with only 9 out, for me, Diamond has to start. We have to have some direct running towards the defenders, some pace in the side. We need to get those crosses in for the likes of Grigg. The crosses we saw at the week against Oldham for the first time. We're drilling the balls in the box rather than these big high balls that nobody can head. I mean, Will Griggs, 2 foot tall. There's no point putting the balls up in the sky coming down with snow. We want the balls low. But like Lee Johnson says, you want more midfielders rushing into the box to help out Grigg a little bit. Now, for me, we talk about Bailey Wright. Bailey Wright is being found out with only 2 centre-backs at the back of it. So I think that's one of the reasons why I think sort of Pattinson plays 3 centre-backs. You know, Bailey Wright can sort of command and sort of dictate the centre-backs, the other 2, because they help them out a bit. But when there's only 2 centre-backs, we need really a fit Willis back on the side with a bit of pace, because Bailey Wright isn't the fastest of lads, and he's having a bit of dip in form. But for me, it's because with it being a slow back 4, you need somebody with pace at the back. Now, Willis hasn't played well all season, but he's been carrying an injury all season. You cannot play at 100%, not even 90%, and carrying an injury and getting injections all season. It's no good. I've heard he's back in training, so the sooner we get Willis back, fit, firing all cylinders, that will be a massive boost to Bailey Wright. And we'll see. I mean, Bailey Wright is our best centre-back, but we'll see a better Bailey Wright with Willis alongside him. That's my opinion anyway. But Diamond has to start. He has to start Diamond on Saturday for me, because Lincoln are really in good form at this moment in time.
Yeah, fully agree. Staying with Jack Diamond on the live chat, Fane SAFC, Diamond on the wing. He's got pace and it'll help going down the flanks. Andrew Robbins, right, is missing. Jordan Willis next to him. David Walker also agrees with that. Right misses Willis big time. Mad Mackham 88 has also put Bailey Wright at his worst, but is still the best centre-back we have. Michael, would you agree with that? Even though it was a 2-1 win on Tuesday night, still struggling to keep clean sheets at the moment. Do you reckon that is something that Lee Johnson has to rectify going into the next few games?
Yeah, well, as everyone knows by now, I'm probably the person that certainly on here that champions and moans about clean sheets more than any other one, because as much as Sunderland have to get the balance right and you have to go forward and you obviously have to get more goals, at the same time, people underestimate how important keeping clean sheets is, because it gives you, that was the reason that we had such a good start. When we were, I mean, obviously, there was a couple in the first 6 games, for example, we only conceded once, and that wasn't even from open play. So clearly, for me, it's incredibly frustrating that we've gone from that to only keeping 1 clean sheet in our last 9 or 10 games in all competitions. Obviously, it's a massive thing. I think that Bailey Wright, I don't know, has Bailey Wright actually, before coming to Sunderland, does anyone know what system Bailey Wright thrived in? Was he actually part of a back 4? Was he part of a back 3? Was he part of a back 5? Whatever it is.
He was certainly left on the bench a good couple of times in his last year at Bristol.
Yeah, no, he was. Even then, it's not even the. If you look at the last few games, I think Bailey Wright has been at fault for a couple of the goals we've conceded. Like I said, the Cameron Drome header, as good a header as it was, I felt Bailey Wright showed him far too much to aim for. Maybe that one I'm willing to say might be me being hypercritical, to be fair. But if you look at the one against Doncaster, I think CONRAD pointed it out on the live stream, where he's basically just trying to chest the ball in the box, where in the 92nd and a half minute, when you've only got so many seconds left, who fit? Game management, who fit? and then you let the ball bounce off him against Wigan, which cost the goal that ended up having a 1-0 defeat there. So we need to start keeping clean sheets again. I do agree, though. I think Bailey Wright has still got quality about him, but we need to get back to that to give ourselves a bit. If we're going to win on Saturday, for example, against Lincoln, we're going to have to keep a clean sheet. Simple as that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my take on the game on Tuesday, I mean, was it the energy levels weren't quite there to start with, but I think once we went a goal down, I reckon it did wake up the team a little bit. I mean, that goal, I thought the closing down was a little bit poor from Max Power. The left hand from Anthony Patterson in goal could have been a lot stronger, but staying with Anthony Patterson, I thought as the game went along, his nerves calmed a lot, and he made some smart saves, particularly in the second half. There was one towards the end, which was a deflected shot he managed to push wide of the post. So, yeah, decent performance from him. But on that right-hand side, Power, as the game went along, that link-up play he had between Conor McLaughlin and Jack Diamond contributed well to our equalising goal, which was a ball played into the box. A smart finish from Chris Maguire at the far post, who has had a dip in form recently. So let's hope that goal is a massive confidence boost for him. And the big change I felt, Grant Ledbetter being put on set pieces for that game on Tuesday. A fantastic delivery into the box.
Got the winning goal.
A good header from Josh Scowen. Not the tallest of blokes, but met the cross with fantastic quality. Not the biggest of lads as well. Getting on the end of that header and putting that header into the far corner. So that was brilliant to see. Because Josh Scowen is a player that has worked with Lee Johnson before, so you hope that his performances will get even better as the games go along. But guys, we're into the next round. At home to Port Vale, I believe the next round of ties are going to be played in January. What's everyone's opinions of us being in this competition this season? I mean, I know promotion is the main aim, but considering that we're this far in, should we potentially go for it and try and get Silverware under our belts? Because it has been a long time, but knowing how unlucky Sunderland Football Club is, it's likely we will probably end up getting to the final this year and no fans will be allowed in the stadium, which will be absolutely heartbreaking, to be honest.
Might be the best thing for us with our record.
Yeah.
And the torrid Wembley record. How many is it now? Since 1973?
6 or 7.
I thought it was 7 or 8.
Oh, well, it might have beaten my record.
Yeah, I think that none of us here have ever seen Sunderland win at Wembley, have we? The record is absolutely horrendous. Gilesy, we're going to start with you on this debate. Should we go all guns blazing for the Papa John's Pizza Trophy this season, considering we're into the knockout stages, and now it looks like we've got a real good chance now of getting through to the final few teams, considering we've got an interesting and winnable home tie against Port Vale in the next round?
Well, mate, for me, it all depends on what we're doing in the league. If we start climbing the league, winning our league games, I would start to think about putting more youth players in the Papa John's Trophy rather than play our best team. Just imagine if, say, Ledbetter gets injured, we'll be goosed. You know what I mean? So all depending on what we're doing in the league. If we're flying up the table, fingers crossed, then I would stop filtering the youth into the Papa John's Trophy rather than strong team. I know at the end of the day, I'd rather get out this league than go to the final. And then to be honest, we might not any fans be allowed to go with the corona, like you were saying. So it's one of them, mate. If we're doing well in the league, then I would put the youth in. If we're not, I would have a mixture of two, like he did against Oldham, a strong team, and gone for it. It's all dependent on the league for me.
I mean, one player you mentioned there was Grant Ledbetter. I thought he would have potentially been rested on Tuesday night because he is at the age of 34 now. I think Lee Johnson has got to handle him in the right way possible so he maintains his full fitness for the important games we have coming up. And with a tough trip away to second place Lincoln on Saturday, I thought potentially Elliot Embleton coming into the starting lineup would have been a better option. But I think it just shows what an important member Ledbetter is of the squad this season, considering also the big change that I highlighted on Tuesday night. Josh Scowen was no longer taking set pieces. Grant Ledbetter was on them instead, and it made a massive difference, especially for our second goal. But Bowers, we'll come to you on this debate next. Can we go for it? Can we win the Papa John's Trophy this season?
Oh, it's definitely a competition that we realistically can win. But does it count as a major piece of silverware if, say, Sunderland were to win it? Like,
I'd parade it around like the Champions League, mate. I'd get an open top bus parade.
Forget the Champions League. It's all about the Papa John's trophy. As long as we get a free Papa John's, I'm all for it.
Well, I'm best mates with them now on Twitter, so...
Still waiting for Papa John's to sponsor us, but yeah, in some senses, I do get the argument that winning it breeds a winning mentality. You'd expect to beat Port Vale, but you never know. I think the last time we played them in the FA Cup, I think they did give us a really good go. So, even though that was 2 years ago now, Jesus, that was 2 years ago. I can't believe that was 2 years ago. You never know. But I think I'm kind of with Jalsey on this. I think that if it looks like you're not going to do anything in the league, then why not at least do something half productive? But if we do start to show that we can really, and we should be showing it for me, if we do start to show like we can go for it and go further up the league, especially depending on what happens in January, then I wouldn't be overly fussed about it. But you never know. You could feel that we're sort of reserve side and to see where it goes. I'm with Jalsey. It depends entirely on what happens in the league for me.
Oh,
we lost Nick.
There we go. Sorry, connection was a bit fumbly there. Conrad, before we come to you on the live chat, WizVid, I think just winning something, Mad Mackham would be good. Must be on about a previous debate they're having in the live chat. Daytona.
They're on about the trophy. They're saying like.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Daytona Fire. Winning is a good habit to get into. Never a bad idea to win anything. Feign SAFC, exactly. Just keep winning and don't look back. And Ozin Murphy, much rather win the Papa John's over getting promoted and just get relegated from the championship anyway. That's a debatable one, to be honest. And Frankie Tattori, do I get a free pizza if we win the Papa John's trophy? Only time will tell. Conrad, we'll come to you on this debate. It's interesting actually because I remember in the season where we eventually did get to the final. It was the first time we played in the competition ever since it first came into the fold. Because it is only League One and League Two clubs that participate. And I remember a discussion saying that it's the most underrated looking trophy to win out there. People, when you see that trophy from a distance, it looks like not quite the Champions League, but it's definitely like the size of it in height. But Conrad, can we go for it? The Papa John's Pizza Trophy this season?
Well, we may as well. We're only like, I see what you mean. It looks like the UEFA Cup a little bit.
Yeah.
We may as well. We're only like 3 games away from it now. And while you were talking, I was just thinking the worst thing that we always seem to do is, as it gets later and later in the season, the team seem to put a lot of pressure on themselves to be like, we've got to catch this team. We can't lose this game. The best thing to do is almost take your mind off it and play without sort of fear, really. So we've got 4 games in this competition to do that. Let's not worry about it. Just concentrate on winning each game as it comes, not looking at the table, and we'll just see where we end up at the end. Like a lot of us think we're already out of it anyway. Like I've said countless times, we're not catching Hull. And if we do, I'd be absolutely amazed and wonder what happened to Hull, really. Probably got a points deduction if we do end up catching them.
If we do catch Hull, it'll be because they've slipped down to 6th.
Yeah, they won't be in the playoffs anymore. It's just, we may as well. Why not? Let's go out and win that. Winning's a good habit to build with your team on there. And let's, as Terry has mentioned before, let's do over Portsmouth in the final again and celebrate like there's no tomorrow and just pitch invade right. Even if we're not allowed in, pitch invade anyway. Just go to Portsmouth, right in their face, and just be like, "Have that, you bastards!" That's all I want.
Is it bad that I want us to get? Is it bad that I want Sunderland and Portsmouth to get in the final just to be with Conrad when we're watching?
Flipping 8 Portsmouth, honestly.
Yeah. For people
Horrible.
watching tonight, don't take Bowers' advice, which is to do a pitch invasion if we win the cup. Bowers,
that's not my advice.
Bowers, can't believe you said that.
The man mistake. Before we come to you, back to the live chat. Monty's BP. If we win the cup, it would motivate the team. Well, you would have thought that would have happened to Portsmouth in 18-19, but we ended up beating them in the playoff semi-final. WizVid, Are Newcastle under 23 still in the Pappers?
I think they were.
I assume they got knocked
they
out.
are. No, I think
because they're not in the.
Oh, I don't know if we could I don't know if we could be done with that again. God, that could be an eggshell.
I'm pretty sure they're still in it. I think
Who
they
are?
are. Newcastle's under 23s.
No, they're not. They're out of it.
No.
Are they out?
Are they?
They got knocked out at the group stages, I think.
Oh, right.
I'm going to load up the
So
list.
Thornsey is relieved.
Oh, that's a I don't think we could be done with that again. 50 minutes, that first 50 minutes of that game, I just remember being peppered with messages from Newcastle supporters. It was just a relief when White scored.
Yeah, playing Newcastle's Bairns that night. Yeah.
The only under 21s team left in it in our side is Leicester, and there isn't one in the south side of it.
So Leicester's the only one left in the whole competition,
Right.
the under 21.
Leicester are the only under 21s left in it. Apart from that, on our side, we've got Hull or Fleetwood, Lincoln or Accrington Stanley, Tranmere or Leicester, and then those in Port Vale, of course. And on the other side, Portsmouth, Peterborough, Oxford, Cambridge, Northampton, MK Dons, and Bristol Rovers, Wimbledon.
So the question for Conrad, who do you want to win out of Peterborough and Portsmouth?
Can they both lose?
No.
I think it's got to a stage now where I can't be asked looking at other results, to be honest, especially in the league.
I want a Portsmouth rematch just to do them over. So
the Portsmouth rivalry continues, the made-up rivalry.
Do them over.
Thanks to Conrad.
Yeah. More comments in the chat. SAFC Gaza. The SAFC Gaza. Oh God. Until we start banging some goals in, we need the first 11 to start the trophy games to get some kind of momentum going. Bristolian and Mackham winning the trophy, it would spur on the team. Andrew Robbins, typical Sunderland. We will win it and we're not allowed to go. And Fane SFC, you never know. We would get all the way to the final without playing a fellow League One side or an under 23 side. Only time will tell. So the man mistake, onto this debate. The Papa John's Pizza Trophy, we've done, I would say, a lot better than a lot of people predicted we would do in it from the start of the season. We do find ourselves in a decent position that we can go all the way in it now. How far do you reckon we can go? Especially, we've got a winnable home tie coming up against Port Vale next, and I think after that we're only in the last four of the northern section. I'm not sure when North and South can mix going into the last few
semis.
I think it's the semis. I'm not quite sure.
Because we played Bristol Rovers 2 years ago in the semis. So
yeah, I think it's that. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, Terry, on that debate, what do you think?
Well, there's nothing better than winning a nice trophy. You know what I mean? There's nothing better than winning a nice trophy.
How many's on that shelf?
How many opportunities with players who are playing for Sunderland now have a chance of winning a trophy? There's not many of these players that are ever going to have the opportunity to win a bit of silverware. So, for me, Lee Johnson did right on Tuesday night. He's against time at this moment in time. He's 8 points behind Lincoln in second place. He's sort of coming off the pace. He needs to learn about his players as quick as possible, as fast as possible, and drilling his direction of play into them players. He needs to use every opportunity. Now, Tuesday night, people say Grant Ledbetter, this, that, and the other. He needed to get all them players in his way of thinking, because there's some big matches coming up in that league, and we can't afford to get too far cut adrift. Otherwise, it's only the trophy left to play for. And end of the day, we all want to come in the top two, and we have to beat teams like Lincoln. Another big match is coming up. So if he can play every single match and give the majority of his first team squad a bit more time on the ball, his way of thinking. He said it took him a while on Tuesday night to pick up what he was trying to drill into them. I mean, Will Grigg first half, he wants Will Grigg more into the box and keep on going in the box, sort of more opportunities. He was coming too far deep for him, and later on he was sort of getting more into the box. So he has his way, his sort of formation, his way of thinking. And for me, you have to win the trophy. You have to go for it. You have to win every single match. Now we're only in one cup. We're out of everything else. We could be cut adrift by Saturday if we happen to get beat off Lincoln, because it's early days for Lee Johnson's side, and Lincoln are a damn hard good side. You know, the good side could be a difficult side to beat. So for me, I think he did well on Tuesday. And then this team, if this team ever want to win some silverware, this is the only trophy they're going to win silverware with, unless obviously they win the league, which is probably not going to happen. Now, it seems to be a bit of a running theme on our chat tonight. O'Sheen, Murphy and Frankie Dettori, two world-class jockeys, watching SAFC Fan TV. Where's Aidan McCoy at?
Was it AP McCoy?
AP McCoy, that's
AP
all.
McCoy.
Aidan McCoy.
Aidan McGeady's watching.
Oh, really? Runs down the wing for me. Love to see it. I'm buzzing he's back in the team.
Runs off the bench for me.
Back on the bench.
Yeah, and last but not least, to discuss this debate we've been having about how far we can go in the Papa John's Pizza Trophy, Johnny. Another trip to Wembley. We have our rituals, don't we? We stop off at a Wetherspoons called Harrow on the Hill. A few stops down on the Metropolitan line, sink a couple of pints, get on the tube and walk down Wembley Way. I've done it twice. Done it twice with you now. Can we do it a third time?
Well, I'll kind of follow on from what Terry said. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, the league is got to be the priority in trying to get promoted. But I think Lee Johnson's got to look at it as an opportunity to get implement his system, kind of as what Terry was saying, his style of play, his formation. I think obviously he did pick a relatively strong team for Tuesday night's game, and I think a lot of that was because he needed a reaction from the players following on from the bad result against Wigan. He's got to try and get anything positive out of every game that we play at the moment, because obviously the club's in a particular lull at the minute. So I think he's got to use it as an opportunity to try and get the young players in, try and just breed confidence and get the players getting positive results. I was listening to the What the Fork podcast the other day from when obviously Gus Poyet was in charge, and he used the cup games as that kind of mentality, and it did feed into the players' form in the league. So I think if you do, obviously little bits of rotation here and there, and balancing the side up, but I definitely think we should be aiming to go for it, because like I said, we're in no other competitions. I think it's just to get some a positive atmosphere back about the place, and it definitely will drill into the league games. Obviously, with a degree of you've got to be sensible, a bit of rotation here and there for the squads. But when you've only got so many games to play to get to the final, you've got to go for it, really. So
why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? And I think just to build. Get the place, get some positive things going about the place, because we're in a particular lull at the minute where everything's disappointing and we've not got much to look forward to. So he needs to be trying to get the fans on side early doors, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Before we come on to the next bit of the show, which is previewing our tough trip to Lincoln City, who are second in the league on Saturday. A quick glance at the live chat. Jackie D123_. If you look at the crosses into the box, Diamond for the game against Oldham and the game against Burton, it's so different. I know. Was it crosses into the box diagrams? Sorry, not Diamond. For the game against Oldham and the game against Burton, it's so different. It shows that Johnson has had an instant impact. Fane SAFC, more will be good enough once the confidence starts coming back and Johnson getting the best out of this squad. WizKid, anyone got any updates on the takeover? I see Story is still yaking on social media. Still a player in the process. To be honest, the takeover stuff at the moment, we haven't heard much, have we? This past week, to be honest, I think the last we've heard that this proposed deal for Louis Dreyfus-Carril to come in is still in the EFL checks, but only time will tell. We expect developments very soon on that one, to be fair. And WizKid, once again, I think a couple of new players at Christmas might help us out in the Cup and League, and with other players coming back from injury. So, guys, Saturday, Sunderland face a trip to second place side Lincoln City in the league, who are currently second at the moment. And a key stat to point out, they have the best defence in League One this season so far. Only 10 goals conceded, which is something that means we'll have to put in a very good performance if we're going to stand any chance of getting 3 points out of the game. Michael Appleton's side, last result for them was a 4-1 win in the Papa John's Pizza Trophy against Shrewsbury on Tuesday night. Decent players to look out for: George Grant, Tom Hooper, Brennan Johnson, James Jones, and also Harry Anderson as well. Gilesy, we'll come to you. Lincoln on Saturday. Michael Appleton's team, it looks like from the start of the season, with this high pressing game that they like to play and using their home ground as a fortress, they have managed to get results over the line. They play with a a lot of attacking football. We knew that when we went to their place last season and got played off the park, which was Jack Ross's last league game in charge. How do you reckon Saturday will go? It'll be a completely different Sunderland side to what the one we saw under Jack Ross over a year ago, which was his last game in charge, wasn't it?
Well, like just gone off what you were saying, they've got the best defence. Well, one of the defenders have got 5 goals, so the defence is not just solid; they can score goals as well. They've got a player called George Grant. He's a midfielder and he's got 9 goals this season. So they can get goals from all over the park, not just the strikers. It's going to be a really, really hard game. I think this is going to be one of our toughest games of the season. For me, I'd be happy to take a 1-0 with them are in second. They're solid. It's going to be a very tough test for Lee Johnson, but if he brings in Diamond and McGeady when Lincoln are pressing us, I think we can counter them, especially with Diamond's pace, if he can get down the right-hand side. And like you see, Scowen set pieces have been diabolical all game from corners, all season from corners to set pieces, hitting the first man. And when Ledbetter was taking them, it was much better. Even Diamond's crossing into the box was much better as well. So I think that on set pieces with Diamond, we probably will get a few good chances, and I'm just optimistic, and I just hope to God we can get a 1-0 and start picking up points in this league and slowly but surely creep up the table.
Johnny, before we come to you, Wizvid rather, Mad Mac, and the best formation would be to leave Danny Graham at the train station. Clayton Ed.
I like Dean Woods 1. Second place Lincoln, who are second. Whoever said that.
Sam Ferguson appears to be a rival. You are not going up this season. No way. Cheers, Sam. Taffy Mackin, would we take a draw?
Nope.
Nah.
No mercy.
When you look at the table now, I think we really have to start to pick up results quickly, because when I interviewed Tom White from Sky Sports, if you haven't seen that interview, go and check it out.
Go and check it out.
Yeah, really so speaks very well. His mood was summed up pretty well, to be honest, after the Wigan. He thinks that Lee Johnson now needs to go on a spectacular run if we're going to stand any chance of promotion this season. But Johnny, will that start away on Saturday at Lincoln City? What do you reckon?
I mean, it's going to obviously be a tough game. I think there'll be a lot of backs to the wall. We probably won't have a lot of the ball. I don't know. Like you say, I think we're going to have to focus on trying to be defensive. I think all of our wins this season have been where we keep clean sheets, really. So I think we have to be cautious and not be too attacking too early. We need to keep it obviously tight at the back. I think there's been a lot of debate. I know you have discussed it quite a bit on here about the midfield when you play Ledbetter, Power, and Scowen. Perhaps they're all a little bit too similar. So if it was me, I'd be looking to try and like I said, maybe bring Diamond in for one of them, push Maguire maybe behind the striker. Obviously, probably McGeady on the left. I know his fitness could be a little bit of an issue because he hasn't played a lot of games. I don't know, but if it was me, I would only want to be playing 2 of Power, Scowen, and Ledbetter, and I'd definitely be playing Ledbetter because I think he's been one of the better players so far. I think probably try and get Diamond in on the right, and I think you've said, Jacob, on this before about Maguire, much better in the number 10 role as opposed to on the right hand side. He just gets he doesn't really do a great deal out there. He's better in the middle when he's supporting the striker. Do you think who do you think you'll play up front though? Do you think Wyke? I know he came off the bench the other night. Do you think he'll be fit for a return, or do you think you'll have to risk Graham or Grigg?
I would still see. I'm on the. I still think when you've got your top goal scorer saved on Tuesday, I reckon he's got to bring White back in, surely.
Yeah.
I'll just rate White's work rate. I think I'll just rate more over Will Grigg, but Terry's probably disagreeing. I'm going to go to Terry in a sec. Johnny, finish.
I think I'd definitely, if White's fit, I'd definitely play White. Terry made a good point. It'd be good to see Willis come back in, but obviously if he's not fit, I don't think you can risk him in a game when we're playing somebody so high up. But I definitely want to see White on, just purely because I think you'll have more confidence. Grigg, like you say, I know we've talked a lot about the work rate, and hopefully we'll see that improve. But I think White's got to start if White's fit for this game.
Yeah, so the man mistake, we're going to come to you next. Obviously, you wanted to disagree with me there about Will Grigg, whether he should be in the starting lineup or not, with potentially Charlie Wyke replacing him. because Will Grigg did start the game on Tuesday. What attacking team would you intend to go with if you were Lee Johnson going into that game on Saturday? From an attacking point of view, but also how would you set up defensively against a side who have netted 20 goals so far this season, but 5 of them have come from a central defender they've got?
We'll start with the Grigg situation. Charlie Wright, when he came on against Oldham, he's static. He has no pace. He cannot turn. He's not very nimble. He doesn't fit into the Johnson style of football. He's going to drill the ball in the box. I mean, it's more of a Parkinson style football, Charlie White, where Grigg got better as the game went on Tuesday night, and he took him off to save him for Saturday. I mean, he won that free kick that the second goal came from. It was his harassment and harrying that defender, and the defender eventually fouled Grigg to win that free kick. Now, for me, Grigg's only going to get better and better under Johnson. We have to give the lad time. He needs a couple of more games. He can't be chopping and changing strikers like Parkinson did. Otherwise, we're never going to get a run of games together. We're never going to get more than 1 goal a game. That's why our strikers don't score any goals, cannot score any goals, because they get no runs of games. They've got no confidence. We need to instill confidence, at least give him a couple of matches to see how he plays under the new formation. Now, if you bring in McGeady, who are you going to drop off Tuesday night? Are you going to drop Scowen? Is he going to drop Scowen? He's not going to drop Scowen. He played Scowen in one of his last teams. Is he going to drop the captain Power? Is he going to drop Ledbetter? So how does McGeady fit in? Does that mean Maguire has to be dropped to fit McGeady in? Or does he not start Diamond? So it's a bit of a conundrum for me. I mean, I like Maguire sort of more of a number 10 role if he's going to play Grigg, sort of get up there with Grigg in the box. And for me, he's more of a player that can score from inside the box, like he showed on Tuesday night, than trying to get the ball on the halfway line and run with the ball forward. So, and in defence, Flanagan doesn't do it for me at the moment. So does Sanderson come in for Flanagan? If Willis is not fit, does then Sanderson have to come in, or do you keep the same back four? So he's got a lot to think about, Johnson. It'd be interesting to see what he plays at the weekend. And I just can't. I would definitely start Grigg, though. 100% start Grigg. I would kind of bring on McGeady off the bench at some point if things aren't working out, because I don't think you can give him like 70 minutes last weekend and then try and give him another 70 minutes this weekend. I think I'd have McGeady on the bench for the next match anyway. That's my opinion. And start Diamond. Definitely start Diamond.
Yeah, 100. I would start Diamond. I mean, a potential option you could go for is potentially Diamond playing right wing back, McGeady playing in the number 10 role, and maybe playing, I don't know, Maguire alongside Will Grigg. Giving Maguire a striking role could potentially get his confidence up. And the thing is with Maguire, even though he's been playing poorly, he's one of those players that you do want to leave on, do something out of nowhere by either putting in a brilliant cross, having a fantastic shot on goal. But I do agree with a lot of fans. He's not been doing that a lot recently. But then again, who would you drop Chris Maguire for? It's a debate. Terry, you wanted in there?
I mean, this is a difficult match on Saturday. Lincoln, I know at the high press, they're going to be hard to beat. So we need to be at our best game in midfield. And if the midfield isn't working out by half time, you want a fresh pair of legs. You want Embleton to come on with a bit of pace and somebody who wants the ball, somebody who wants to get hold of the ball. We need, if them three are too similar, then we need someone different at half time to come on like Embleton, someone a bit different. But we need those three players, Scowen, Ledbetter and Power, at their top game, giving everything in that match from the beginning. Otherwise, Lincoln without renowned midfield.
Yeah, I mean, Terry, I'll ask you this now, actually. Obviously, you touched on the midfield there, but in terms of the defence, would you go with 3 at the back playing wing backs, or would you stick with a flat back 4, which Lee Johnson is trying to play at the moment, going away from the Phil Parkinson system?
I would never ever play wing backs again. I would never ever play that 3 at the back again, because Johnson doesn't play that. So what's the point of Johnson going back to a test and tried it combination that doesn't really work? We need Lee Johnson's obviously got his own format, and he'll find the right defensive. You know, it's going to take a few games to find the right combination. We need, like I said, we need a fit Willis playing. For me, in the last couple of seasons, he's been good. This season, he's been injured, and you cannot play an injured man. For me, it's beggars belief. You got plenty of other people to come in. Sanderson could do a good job, but for me, I'd keep it 4 at the back. Keep it 4 at the back, and make your midfielders. You need a bit more. And I mean, if Luke 9 was fit, he could fit into an engine room in the midfield, but whether he fits into Lee Johnson's midfield, I don't know. But you need it. For me, it's all down to the midfield. We need a strong midfield to be at its top, at its best, on fire on Saturday, because Lincoln will overrun us.
Bowers, before we come to you, back to the live chat. Glyn Jones, Grigg has been at Sunderland 2 years this January, and we are still waiting for him to come good. Jai Cassidy, besides pace, what would you think we lack on? The physicality is a quarter of the match, especially when you're playing down in League One. There is a lot of physical players. And David Jones, Will Grigg is a League 2/League 1 is above his station. Chris Scott has also put Johnson played 3 centre-backs last season. But yeah, Michael, we'll come to you now. Would you agree with the man mistake that potentially the midfield battle could determine whether we win or lose the game at Lincoln on Saturday?
It potentially could, yeah. It depends. I've always said that a lot of it is down to taking responsibility. Who wants to, take the responsibility? And yeah, I mean, as much as, for example, I don't think Power's as bad as what, say, Sean obviously isn't a fan of his. It's safe to say Dino isn't that keen on him either. I don't think it's all down to Max Power. I think all the midfielders have got to take responsibility. But it's down to the whole team. The whole team's got to go there on Saturday with the attitude of, no, we should, if we put in the application, we should be aiming to win this game. Not even just for the fact that it's Sunderland in a league game in League One. Obviously, we don't have the right to win a game, of course, but you've got to try and catch Lincoln. Even if people think it's not possible, you've got to try and do it. We can't afford to not win. So, no, I mean, to be honest, I would go as far to say that if we lose on Saturday, I think any hope of, top two's not looking likely at the moment anyway. If we lose on Saturday, I think top two's gone completely. So we really not winning shouldn't be an option. But the midfield could provide a big thing. I think that Embleton, certainly, for example, as a midfielder, is one that, like I've said many times, if you're not going to make it at Sunderland while we're in League One, you're not going to make it here. I've said it. I've probably said it till I'm blue in the face, but give him a go. There are certain situations where we need a bit more energy in the middle of the park, because even I have got to admit, in the middle of the park we have become very static. And I think you could afford, I don't know whoever it was said, you could play, say, Ledbetter, Scowen and Power. You could play 2 of them, but potentially not 3 of them. If you're going to play midfield 3, the other midfielder's got to be energetic, and I think Embleton could offer that. So, but it's going to be a pretty big battle on Saturday anyway, regardless of what position the battle's going to take place. It's going to be a very, very difficult game. We all know it's going to be.
And finally, Conrad, before we come to you, previewing Saturday's game, Dean Wood, 4 at the back, DM 2 centre midfielders, 2 wingers, inside forward, lone striker, and counter attack. Mag Slayer Johnson, weird name. 3-5-2, pack the midfield. Robert Forster, you can complain about Grigg, but we've never played to his strength. Debatable one, that one. Chris Scott, I'd play McGeady and Maguire and Diamond behind Charlie White. Conrad, Lincoln on Saturday, 2nd in the league. It is going to take a very good performance from us to get past them on Saturday, considering they're a team banging form at the moment. How do you think Lee Johnson's team will set up going into his first away league game of his time at Sunderland in charge at the moment?
I'd almost be tempted just to play the exact same team we played against Oldham at this point on here. Just keep going with what you've done, because we didn't play the best, but they played well, especially Diamond. And I wouldn't bring Charlie White back in yet, even though I do think he's probably the best one for us to have up front. But it just seems like we were actually firing some crosses in across the deck and trying to take on a man and sort of square it across to someone, instead of just humping the ball into the box and hoping one of our short players out jumps the 7-foot defenders they've got stuck at the back. It actually felt like the other night we were trying to actually hit a man as well with our crosses and our passes, and we had a bit of intent going forward. So I wouldn't change any of it. I mean, I know I said I was a bit wary about overusing Diamond at the beginning, but may as well at this point, I guess, now that I thought about it, because when Terry was explaining, it was who do you drop to bring in McGeady? As we've already gone through that Maguire hasn't been having his best time, but we all agree that Maguire is better behind the striker or just in that sort of attacking midfield role where he can get in the box and he can cause a bit of havoc or just sit on the edge. He's not the best out wide or anything like that. So yeah, I'd probably say we'll keep McGeady on the bench and we'll still build him up and play the same team that beat Oldham. And we need to win. We need to win just to because it's like Michael said, second has to be the aim above all else. I don't want to put too much pressure on it, because we do under pressure for the last 2-3 years, but we need second place. Second place is our aim at this point on there, and if we fall short, we've got 4 places to fall into to give ourselves a bit of tournament at the end of the season. So you don't want to aim for sixth and miss out. You want to aim for second and miss out if you're going to fall short.
Yeah, I mean, was it Tom White said, it will take a fantastic run for us to even get into the top 2 because of the situation we're in now. But we have to give Lee Johnson all the backing he deserves, that he can bring his ideas across onto the players, that they can perform in the right way, because that's all he needs right now. And I'm sure when we're all allowed back into the Stadium of Light, we'll give Lee Johnson the full backing he deserves. But the next bit of the show, I'm going to go around and ask what your starting 11 will be for the game on Saturday. I'm going to go with mine. I personally think Lee Johnson will go, I think he should go with a 4-3-3. I'll go with Berge in goal, even though Patterson did play well on Tuesday night, but I still think Berge is our number 1 right now. Callum McFad's in at left back, purely because I think he's the only fit player at this moment in time that can play on the left-back side. Bailey Wright and Conor McLaughlin partnering Bailey Wright at the back. Personally, I think McLaughlin has played a lot better this season because he's played in more of a centre-back role. And at right back, I'll go with Jack Diamond. I think his pace can get up and down the pitch in stages in the game where we need him most. A 3-man midfield, I think Josh Scowen, Grant Ledbetter and Max Power. And my front 3, on the left of it, Ada McGeady. I would still go for Charlie Wyke as the main striker, considering he's our top goal scorer so far. Just Will Grigg just doesn't do it for me, in my opinion. And on the right-hand side of the front 3, I'll go for Chris Maguire. But we'll start with you, Gilesy. What would you do if you were Lee Johnson going into the game?
Well, on my channel, I said I'll just give you the lineup quickly. I'd have Lee Burge in goal. Flanagan and right, if Flanagan's fit, isn't he?
Yeah.
I thought he was injured for some reason.
I've dropped him because I think he's not been playing at his best recently. I think he's been responsible for a few of the goals we have conceded, but hopefully I think Johnson...
When did you take over from Lee Johnson if you've dropped him?
No, I haven't been playing Football Manager, unlike you.
Oh, right, okay. Confused.
Yeah. But I think he deserves to spell out the team person. That's just me.
Well,
he will be when Willis is in. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was just saying, when Willis comes in, you'd imagine Flanagan would be the one to miss out of them back two. That's all I was going to say.
Mm.
Well, that's exactly what I would do once Willis is fit. But my 2 centre backs, like obviously, it was Flanagan right. Then on the right hand side, right back, Conor McLaughlin. I think he does bring quite a lot to the team getting forward, and I think he's improved, especially this season. And then on the left, I'll have obviously McFadden to come in with Hume being out injured. And then in the middle, I've went for like Grant Ledbetter just in front of the back 4 with Scowen. And then I've gone for like Grigg up top in goal with Maguire just behind him, and then Diamond and McGeady on either side. That's which we have went for it. But hopefully that I can see Will Grigg keeping his place, because I'm sure he was saying that his style of play suits Will Grigg. I'm sure I said that somewhere on Twitter somewhere. So I think his goals will come for Will Grigg for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine the scenes if Will Grigg scores the winner on Saturday. That's just all he needs right now. Honestly, he just needs a goal in general, just any goal to get his confidence up at least.
Lincoln fans are allowed in the stadium, aren't they?
No,
they're not.
They're in tier 3.
Oh, they're in tier 3.
All right. Michael, before we come to you, on your lineup prediction, Joseph Billingsley, same lineup, but changed the keeper, Lee Burge to start and Patterson on the bench. Chris Scott played Diamond in his proper position. Whimsy Willis, Grigg actually showed some passion on Tuesday. He deserves a chance on Saturday, and Andrew Robbins has also agreed with that. I'd keep Will Grigg in. So Bowers, what would your lineup be for Saturday's game?
Burge in goal, a back 4 of McFadden. Well, obviously McFadden, there's nobody else who can play there. I'd go with Wright and Conor McLaughlin as a back 2, because I think that while I've said in the past I'm not Conor McLaughlin's biggest fan, I actually have no issue with him in central defence. I don't think he's good enough to be a full-back or a wing-back. I put Dion Sanderson at right-back. And this is a tough one. I'm going to assume the formation is going to be a 4-3-3 here, so I'm going to say, it's a tough one. Part of me's wondering whether Ledbetter can play in a midfield three, because a lot of you're going to be required. Okay, I'll put Ledbetter in as midfield three, but he's like slightly deeper. I'd say Scowen, and I'm going to say Embleton in there. I'd like to see him get a goal, and a front three of Maguire, Grigg, and McGeady. And the reason I haven't said Jack Diamond is because I think Jack Diamond could be the perfect player to bring off the bench for this game, where it's less. I think that if he starts, then I think Lincoln could try to quickly figure out what he's going to do, and I think it gives them. And as when he's coming off the bench, the game's already in play basically, and Lincoln will have had. I don't know. I just think Diamond could be better coming off the bench. I've articulated that really poorly, but I think Diamond could be really, really good coming off the bench. I don't know. Was it you, Conrad, who was saying that keep it calm with Diamond at the minute, where it's one thing doing it against Oldham, but it's another thing.
I've flip-flopped a couple of times in this episode about what I would do with it. But yeah, that makes the more sense, actually. So if they've watched us on Tuesday night, they'll be thinking, right, that kid on the right, that's who we need to watch. So if you don't play him, wait for them to tire out and do a Johnson sub at about 60 minutes. 60 minutes, not a Parky sub at 85 going, win us the game, lads. Cheers. We need to make it half an hour to play. Half an hour play while I got time.
Well, for me, I know I've just contradicted myself there with the Embleton thing, but yeah, I think Embleton could be more ready to do it over the course of 90 minutes than Diamond. I know Diamond, I think, is a better option coming off the bench. That's why I wouldn't start him.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting point to make, considering last week it was McGeady's first start he'd made in a football game in months. It'd be interesting to see how his fitness will be for that game on Saturday. I mean, could Lee Johnson even potentially have McGeady on the bench, but to bring him on in the latter stages to inject some quality in the final third and have Jack Diamond play in his position from the start? But personally, Aidan McGeady, he is quality on his day, and I think he will be in the starting lineup. But Johnny, before we come to you on your team lineup selection on the live chat, David Jones, too many Sunderland players have become stale. They've been there too long. Needs a decent clear out for me. Andrew Robbins, Burge, McLaughlin, Wright, Sanderson, McFadzean, Scowen, Ledbetter, Embleton, Diamond, McGeady, and Grigg 4-3-3. Dean Wood thinks that Ledbetter will definitely be in the starting lineup, and Kieran Gale, my team, will be Burge, Sanderson, McLaughlin, Wright, McFadzean, Ledbetter, Scowen, Embleton, McGeady, Grigg, and Diamond. So, Johnny, what would your team selection be if you were Lee Johnson?
Right, so I would be playing probably a 4-2-3-1. I would stick with obviously Burge in goal, McFadzean left back. I'm a big fan of Hume. It's a good opportunity. I do really like Hume. I know he's been a little bit inconsistent in the recent games. A good opportunity for McFadzean to try and nail the position down and prove why he should be in the team. And he needs to have a solid game defensively, I think. Centre halves, obviously Beatty Rice. I'm not Flanagan's biggest fan, but I probably would play Flanagan. I can see the view for putting Sanderson in. My only thing is I don't think he's played that many games recently, so I'm not sure if I'd want him to play. Probably McLaughlin right back. Again, I think playing him right back, I'd really like to see him nail that position down, so he can play there and then have freeze 09 up to play in the middle. I know 09's not going to play for this game, so him right back. Two holding midfielders would be Ledbetter, and I'll put Power in over Scowen. Purely based, I'm not again Power's biggest fan, but he has scored a couple of goals in the recent games. He can have a shot, and I think the team that lacks a real goal threat, I think it's important to have somebody in like that. Then I'd probably play McGeady on the left, Maguire just behind the striker, Diamond on the right. I don't see the harm in giving him a game. I can see why people would say bring him on after 60 minutes, but I'd say give him a game. He's had a good game on Tuesday, so give him a chance. And then I'll say Wyke just purely because he scored some goals recently, and I can see the argument for Grigg again. I'd go for the man who's probably scored more goals in the recent games, but maybe give Grigg an opportunity on Tuesday perhaps. So I'd go for that.
The man mistake before we come to you, Gary Talbot. Think a point on Saturday will do. Only 15 games played, still a lot of points to play from. Not for me. I think we need to start picking up wins.
The 29 left, if that is that quick maths. If there's a 29
Hang on a minute.
left,
Is this the 15th game we'll have played in the league?
16th.
Bowers, over to
16th.
you. Produce some good quick maths.
Okay, if this is the 16th game, we've got 30 games left after this one.
Cheers, Bowers.
I went the wrong way. Yeah, you're right.
Hang
on, is it because last season was going to be a 44 game season? Yeah.
Yeah, if you take that into account. Mad Macam 88, you're all mad if you think Diamond shouldn't start. I agree with that one personally. Andrew Robbins Diamond should 1000% start. And Richard Stubbs, keep the same team, but make sure Dan Neil gets a good run out, keep the faith and always believe. Sunderland till I die, Richie and Kieran.
Has Dan Neil picked up an injury?
What was he on? We heard he was on the bench on Tuesday night, and then
did he come off?
Reports saying that he wasn't on the bench. I can't understand it.
He wasn't at first, but then I think when the Sanderson fiasco happened, where they were like, "Hey, you've already played us this season," he was like, "Oh yeah, forgot about that," and it was all just like, "Hang on, we could have been done here." I think he came on then, but maybe it was just one of them things that he might have been travelling with the squad and not really in it. They just needed someone to put on the bench. Do you know what I mean? Just in case. Yeah. So I didn't see him running about, but unfortunately, we did see George Dobson running about.
Yeah. Can you just picture there was like a team meeting in Oldham's dressing room where all the players sat down and then Sanderson puts his hand up saying, "I can't play tonight. Have you realised what's going on?"
Well, apparently Oldham told us. So I just imagine they're watching the team walk in and them going, "I'm sure we've seen that fella before." And then because imagine if they hadn't told us and we'd have played, and then the trouble we'd have got in for playing someone who was ineligible. You do the research.
Yeah, but that's something when you're working at a football club and managing at a football club, you have to understand these things. Otherwise,
it's typical
it can come back to bite you on the arse. Yeah, exactly. It was terrible on behalf of the club, to be honest. But Terry, we'll come to you. There was a mention in the live chat of potentially Dan Neil getting a run out on Saturday. Would you agree with that? And firstly, what would your lineup be for the game against Lincoln?
Well, obviously, Burge is going to come back into the league match. I mean, Patterson did really well, but I still think Burge is probably the number one keeper at this moment in time. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't want to be chopping and changing things too much from one game to another, especially when Lincoln are so good. So I think I'd probably leave Flanagan for the time being with Wright, McFadden on the left. Wow, I don't know. I don't see the point of putting McLaughlin in centre back when he's had all those games at right back, and Lee Johnston's obviously fancies him being the right back. So for me, he stays at right back. I'd want to keep Diamond sort of at the same position as he was on Tuesday. He's got a lot of energy to burn. And I don't want to be seeing him running backwards and forwards and down the pitch to right back all the way at the front of there and burn all his energy off straight away. I want to see those bursts, bursts of speed in the centre of midfield.
I mean, save energy.
Right hand side, or even cutting inside towards the penalty area, trying to drill them low balls in. Ledbetter in front of the two defenders, in front of Flanagan and Wright, as sort of the holding midfielder, but doing more defending than attacking, and obviously trying to spray the balls forward to Power and Scowen, who are younger, who should be able to run all day long. They're only 27-year-old or whatever they are. They should have loads of energy to burn. Them two should be busting a gut non-stop, down towards the penalty area, back in the midfield, backwards and forwards. Let Ledbetter sit in midfield. Let Ledbetter control the midfield. Let the other two younger lads do all the work. And then obviously Maguire trying to help out Greg, but Maguire on the left-hand side, and if it doesn't work out, bring McGeady on. But for me, the only change I would do really would be Burge. I'd sort of say to Ledbetter, look, control the game more in midfield. Don't use up all your energy. Want to try and keep you on as long as possible. Let the two younger lads, Scowen and Power, do all the running around.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. And finally, before we come to you, Conrad, on the live chat, Glenn Jones, Diamond needs to start against Lincoln. The lad has got pace, balance, good feet, and can beat a man. The team is much better with him in it. Robert Forster, too big of a game for Dan Neil, he thinks. And Andrew Robbins, lads, we need to go for a win. I would not take a point. We need to go for 3 points. How are the lads? F the Mags. Steve Flounders, joking all aside, the fact that we didn't know until the last minute that Sanderson wasn't eligible sums up the lack of professionalism at the club.
It's just, I didn't find that out till today. I didn't find that out till today. It's so Sunderland to do that, isn't it?
You just imagine he's there doing the warm-up.
Has this lad played in this competition? Crap! Get him off, lads! Get him off! Get Flanagan
He's there
off.
doing the warm-up, and they're like, "Oh, right, we've already played him this season." And someone go, "Yeah, he's just there for motivation, lads. Get over here."
Sanderson's got a brain, got a tongue in his head. So Sanderson could have said, "I've played already in this cup, you know, manager. Lee Johnson, I've already played in this cup."
He's typical footballers, Terry. They don't know now.
No, but what did Dino say in the live stream on Tuesday? He was saying, if I was Sanderson, I would right, I'm keeping my mouth shut. I'm only on loan. I want to play.
Yeah, I haven't started enough games yet. I need to just play.
Yeah. The thing is, that wouldn't have worked though. Someone would have found out somewhere.
We'd have been absolutely in the shit for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been examples in the past where this has happened. I think there was one about
Alvarez.
Cardiff. Yeah, Alvarez. I think, the big Carlos Tevez, West Ham, Sheffield United complained about that when they got relegated last day of the season. But
it would have been that thing that EFL would have loved to have just made another example out of us. If it had been like someone down the bottom end of like League One, they wouldn't have been bothered that much. But because it's Sunderland, they're like, right, let's leap on these ones here. They love taking the piss, like, honestly.
Yeah, of course. And finally, to the last point of the show tonight, Conrad, what would your starting 11 be for Saturday?
Like I said earlier on, I keep changing my mind on Diamond, but I think I agree with Michael. I'd pretty much play the same team bar the keeper. I'd put Burge back in, but McGeady in for Diamond, and then Diamond comes on 55, 60 minutes when they're tired.
Yeah, bring them on plenty of time to go,
to stretch the game and have a go at them there. McGeady's trickery at first, because again, they won't have... teams at the minute won't have done a lot of research thinking about McGeady because he's not played for us. And if they've watched the game on Tuesday night, they'll be expecting Diamond for now. And then when you introduce them when they're knackered. So I'd go that way.
It'd be interesting to see. Only time will tell. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for joining us on tonight's
predictions!
The score
I can't be bothered with that. No, I can't.
Michael, I'm like you.
Predicting games
right,
now.
so let's make it a quick one. The man mistake. We'll start with you on a score prediction.
2-1 victory.
2-1 win. Conrad?
The Lincoln.
Yes.
2-0 Sunderland.
2-0 Sunderland. Michael?
Don't do it, Michael.
1-1.
A Jack Ross special. Oh no, so much negativity.
Anything less than a win isn't good enough for me, but 1-1.
And to our two guests tonight, Gilesy and Jonathan. Gilesy, we'll start with you. Score prediction.
1-0, mate.
1-0. Johnny, over to you, man.
I'm going to go 2-1 Sunderland.
2-1 to Sunderland.
Please let you all be right.
I'm going to give you all some confidence. News flash for Saturday: Lincoln City 0, Sunderland 2. That's my prediction. How will the lads keep the faith? Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us on tonight's edition of the Thursday Night Live on SAFC Fan TV. Thank you for everyone who contributed to the live chat this evening. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're trying our very best to get to 5,000 subscribers to make it a very happy Christmas. And also, don't forget we have a competition on Twitter at SAFC Fan TV if you want the chance to win either the home or away shirt this season. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. Sunderland till we die. Keep the faith for our trip to Lincoln on Saturday. How are the lads?